In this video, we're going to talk about Git Cherry Pick, and what that allows us to do is to take one commit for this, in this example, from the feature branch, commit C, and pull it over to the main branch. And you'll be thinking, well, that's what Git Merge means. But actually, no, Git Merge would take commit C and D from the feature branch and bring it to our main branch. Cherry Pick allows us to cherry pick one commit. So I made a tweet about this and I got some great feedback, ideas and questions, and I want to include those in this video. So thank you so much, Emmy, for saying they're going to look at my YouTube channel for this video, but I haven't created it yet, so I'm creating it now. So big shout out to you. And I got a few more shout outs coming out shortly, so we'll get to that in a minute. Before we get started on the command line, I want to walk you through this. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe below if you haven't already. It really helps support the channel and doesn't cost you anything. So let's make a Git directory and let's actually get started. So when I make a directory, I'm going to say Git Cherry Pick. And then we're going to navigate into that directory and let's initialize a Git repository here. So now we've got a Git repository initialized, there's no commit, no nothing, and Git has automatically created the main branch for us. The next thing that we want to do is probably make a file with some changes in it and then some commits. Let's do that. So let's create the most important file in any project, the README file. So let's just do line 1 and then close that. And I'm going to do a commit. So therefore, you understand what each commit is because the commit message will be a line 1 in this case. You'll see. Bear with me. So let's git commit. Well, actually, we need to add the file first because if we do a status, we get to see it's not tracked by Git yet. So if we do git add readme, and then now you'll see it is tracked and staged by Git. So we can do git commit. And we'll just call it line 1. I'm not going to use any fancy convention. So we're going to commit that. You won't get a password for this. This is because I signed my commits with a GPG key. You won't get asked for a password. So now if I do a git status, you'll see there'll be nothing. And if I do a git log, you'll see we've got one commit and it has actually got my commit message in there. Okay, so next, let's do that again, really. Let's do a second commit to make it more interesting. And we'll do something very exciting and call it a line 2. So now let's go through my history and we'll just go to the commit message and we'll say commit line 2. And you might be thinking, why am I putting the file name at the end of the commit message? It's because I actually haven't staged the file. There's a couple of ways to do commits, and I've got more videos on this that go into details. But you'll see before when we did a git status, it was on the left in green. And now here, now do a git status -s again, it's slightly on the right column. So the second column, and it's red. It's M for modified and A for added, but in terms of the first column and then the second column, it's because it's not staged. So I could do a git add to stage it, but in this case, I'm just going to append it to the commit message, and that's going to get committed. So if I do a git status again, it's all clean. Let me clear my terminal. And if I do a git log, you can see now we've got 2 commits. Oldest one is line 1 and the newest one is line 2. Let's create a branch. Let's go to a branch and we'll just call it a feature branch. And let's make some more changes again. So let's do a line 3. And you're going to understand why we're going to do a line 4 as well. So if I do go through my history, and if I do another commit, and it's going to be line 3. And then let's do another change. And let's do line 4. This is the last one we're going to change. And then we're going to do some interesting cherry picking in Git. And I think this will become really useful for you. So let's do a commit. And it's going to be line 4. Okay, so now if we do a git status, we have nothing. It's super clean. And if we do a git log, we have these 4 commits. So I'm going to switch back to the main branch now. And if I do a git log, you can see we've only got 2, because that means in our main branch, we've got 2 commits, but in our feature branch, we actually have 4. So I could do a git branch to see our branches. We've got main and feature. I could also do a git lg. It's an alias I've created for a fancy log command. And here you can see for the main branch, which is currently our head, it's the branch that we're in. We've got these 2 commits, and in our feature branch, we've also got these 2 commits, but we've got 2 additional commits, which is line 3 and 4. But let's say we only want the commit for line 3, because if we did a merge of the feature branch, then we'll get both commits. So we'll get the changes line 3 and 4, but we might only want line 3. We don't want that additional commit. And yes, you could go into that branch and you could do another commit or revert and work on it. But to be honest, this commit is all that we want from that branch. So what we can do is I can get that hash and I can do a cherry pick on that. So just a reminder, if I do a Git Merge feature branch, I will get both of those commits, but we only want to cherry pick one commit. So let me copy and paste this hash, exit out of this. Let me clear my terminal, and just to remind you, git log, we've only got 2, but we want line 3, not 4. So we're not going to git merge. So what we can do is we can go git cherry pick and then the hash. And so now if I do that, it's now pulled in that hash. So if I do a git log, what do you expect to see? We get to see line 1, line 2, and line 3. So hopefully you're all following. And just to give a couple more shout outs before we go into more details, shout out to Michael, who rightfully pointed out, and a shout out to also Sylvain, hopefully I pronounced that right. They both pointed out that the commit is not brought across, but the actual changes are. So we will actually get a new hash for that commit. It's not going to be the same. So we can check that out by doing this with my fancy git lg command, which I have some tweets and videos on that if you want to know how to do that. But you'll see over here, line 3 was this commit, so it ended in A3C, but when we cherry picked it over, now it ends in 563, but the commit messages are the same. So it's kind of brought the changes over and done another commit for us in the branch that we were in. So thank you so much to both of you for pointing that out. But hopefully that makes sense to all of you, and the feature branch that we created stays the same. We haven't changed anything with that. It's still exactly the same. That branch is still there. So we could merge it in later on. You might get some conflicts because it's the same changes to a different commit, but most of the time you wouldn't merge in the feature branch if you've done a cherry pick from that branch. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to learn more, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and come visit us in Discord. The Eddie Hub Discord is a great place to collaborate with awesome people. It's a really safe and inclusive space. We talk about open source and making sure you upskill. Link in the description below. I'll see you there.